about this one that I styled up for him a bit ago, and he pointed out, and rightly so, about the chins and this kind of handlebar effect a little bit with the chins on it. Rules and guidelines and things like that. You don't have bar branches, you don't have inverse taper, you don't have... Sometimes it's only a fault until someone points it out. Right. If it doesn't bother you and it's not dramatically wrong and if you like it, well, so be it. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes things just look awful. But anyway, what was suggested doing, because there's a gin up here as well, aye, and there's another one there, it wouldn't make sense to take the one off on this side because it would mean that there's nothing on that side. And there's a bit of shari there anyway and a gin on that side. So I think we should either shorten that dramatically or take that one off. Right? Yeah.
No, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, that's I say like a little fella running down the road, like.
Yeah.
You've seen some streets.
A bit like Tony used to.
Does it better? He got out.
We'll call it Tony.
So, well, the fella running down the road's just going to lose one of his arms. Don't get too concerned about Phomopsis blight. It's quite easily tackled. It's just all you have to do is keep an eye on your trees. Any brown bits of the new foliage, you know, I pointed out that extension before that had some brown on it. Has any of these lot got a little bit on there? You can see, can you see? You guys, can you see that's obviously this year's growth, and can you see the blight's got in and it's gone brown and it's killing the stem. It's killing the stem off. It's trying very hard to grow, but that bit there is kind of had it really, and it's just gonna. So try to find these little bits all over the tree and take them off, because what happens at this time of day, the spores for Phomopsis tip blight are in the air, and obviously we've been having a lot of rain this year, and once the tip blight, the foliage gets wet, the spores stick to the foliage and then it starts to eat away at the foliage. Now if you put Mancozeb on, Mancozeb coats the foliage, there's a slight white tinge to it when you put it on.
And that's a spray?
It's a spray. You can either get it in a flowable mix or powder form, and you mix it into a paste, add water to it and then just spray it on. And you have difficulty seeing the tree in the piece of material.
Yes.
Right, well, these are both good trees. So, just going on about what I was talking about with Steve's tree. Base,
yep.
The nabari, look at the trunk, taper, movement, branch placement, apex. They're the main ingredients, if you like, to try to find what the tree is in there. Now these are all going to be kind of much as they are, apart from they need thinning, they want the apex kind of wants pushing in. But if you've got a piece of raw material, always try to tip the tree up a little bit and think about, right, is it going to go, how is it going to look that way, and turn it round and, you know, and have a look. Some ways are just completely wrong. Also, and they're completely wrong simply because of where the branches are coming out from. Do you know what I mean?
Yep, yep.
But I always remember once I was doing a workshop and somebody brought a pine along and they said I'd fancied a cascade out of it. And it was a tall, I think this was up at Willowbog, it was a really tall tree. Had a little bit of movement in the trunk. It was kind of a bit literati, and he says, I want to try maybe make it into a half cascade, just tip the tree over. Try to be realistic and think the tree will tell you what it wants to do. Don't force something rather unkind of like natural, you know, bit kind of weird and false in a tree. If the tree has got a kind of trunk that doesn't warrant a twisty, gnarly, half cascade type of thing, don't try to push it in that direction. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So where this is concerned, at certain angles, there could be classed as a little bit of inverse taper there. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
So if you're looking at it from, say, is it there? You see there's a bit of inverse taper?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but that kind of thing can be hidden just by moving it around a little bit. So you could move it around a little bit there. Or, just trying to think, can you utilise it from a different angle here? See, it's quite flat there. That knuckle isn't quite so attractive, so it's a case of hiding that. Now, I think either the front that you have there isn't bad, although there's a bit of inverse taper at the top as well, but again, that's one of them things that people will only notice if you tell them. There's not a bad front from round here, because this branch here is kind of coming towards you a little bit more. You've still got a bit of shari there. The large bit up here is coming towards you a little bit, and we could rejig all of that
yeah.
to form an apex in there. That branch could be pulled round.
It's just there's so much of the front up there.
Well, what you could do, you see there's a cut there where the branch has been taken off. You've obviously got a big cut there where there's a bit of cut paste.
Yeah.
Right? So we could put like an illusion that there isn't any inverse taper there by taking some of the bark off, joining it up with some of these cuts, so that we're adding what classes kind of false taper by just utilising the live vein. Right.
All right, yeah, okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a possibility that we could do there. Right. So, and I'm just trying to look to see, because on a tree like this, the apex kind of needs to be over the top of the nabari, right? I personally think we'll keep the front the way it is. It has got, there is an option there, but I think the better option is the way it is, the way it is, right? We just need to get exactly the right spot. We can shave a little bit off here so that it takes away that inverse taper there. You've got that section here that could be carved to take away a bit of that lump. Put a bit of a V in there so that, again, we take that lump away and just push in some of that apex at the top and start to bring some definition in the foliage pads, right? That one there's a little bit too long, and pull it in a little bit.
Yep.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's really all you need to do with that there. So for now, working on this, I'll come back and we'll have a look at that one.
Yeah, certainly.
But for now, can you go and tidy up? Do you know how to clean out?
Yeah, clean out, yeah.
Yeah, if you clean out, take any of the brown bits off, cut off any of the little dead stems, right? Any of the bits of foliage that haven't got nice green tips on the ends, that are just looking a bit sick and a bit sorry for themselves, get them removed and get them crotches nice and clean. I'm going to be well picking up on crotches today. So
My eyes are watering already.
right, so you're happy with that at the minute?
I'm certainly happy with that, yeah.
You know, honestly, there's time to ask questions. I just want to get round and get
Everybody,
everyone
yeah.
started.
Thank you.
I bought this off an ex-club member on Jimmy knows his tree. He'd had it for a while. He wasn't in a position to look after it because he works offshore. So it came to me
It's
what,
looking a lot better
18
than
months
when you got
ago.
it.
It was looking very sorry for itself.
Was it?
Yeah.
And the advice was, park it up, look after it, water it, feed it, and bring it back to some health. So it's had 2 growing seasons. Now this is the end of the 2nd growing season.
Right. Little bit of juvenile foliage there, but I
Yeah.
think you kind of get that with certain junipers anyway.
Yeah.
Right,
So the idea really is extremely, this is way above my head, all right? So with Jimmy's guidance and obviously with yours, because you two specialise in junipers, I want to know where we're at and what I can do with it. Do I need to do anything at it now? Should I be wearing it now? It will get a repot in the spring.
Right.
I won't do it without Jimmy being there. But that's where I'm at.
right. What I would suggest with the tree is you've got a window to get this wired and styled. That
Yeah.
window is now.
Yeah.
Right. Once you start getting into the winter time is not the best time for wiring and styling junipers.
Yeah.
That's best good time for pines, but not for junipers, because the junipers are kind of like as pines, their oomph, if you like,
Yeah.
I like to use the word oomph, comes from their roots,
Yeah.
right? Obviously junipers need their roots as well,
Yeah.
but that oomph comes from their foliage,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You cut too much foliage off a juniper and it'll tell you
Yeah. Yeah.
by,
It'll still. Yeah.
you know, carving it.
Yeah.
So, if the foliage isn't growing well,
Yeah.
don't touch it,
No.
right? One of the most important things with all bonsai,
Yeah.
get them in the best of health you can
Yeah.
before doing any work to them.
Yeah.
If they're not in good health,
Yeah.
don't work them, because there's no point having a lovely style tree that's dead,
No. No.
right?
Absolutely.
So this is looking loads better. I'm saying loads better. I didn't know what it looked like before, but it looks good. It's grown well. So what I would suggest you do now is clean it up.
Yeah.
I always bring me little blue snips in. Always cut things like this back.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons. You must always cut back to live wood.
Yes.
Right, and also for when you're doing any wiring, it keeps the twigs nice and neat, so when you're putting wire on, you're not catching the wire over the top of one of them and it
Yeah.
leaves a gap.
Yeah.
If it leaves a gap and you try to bend the branch off, it'll snap,
Yeah. Okay.
right? So keep it nice and neat, and then once you've gone over it and tidied it up,
Yeah.
took off any bits that are looking a bit ropey and
Yeah.
any dead
Yeah.
bits,
Yeah.
like so, any
Yeah.
berries, because they're
Taking energy away.
taking a bit of energy. I mean, 1 or 2 is not going to do any harm, and if they've gone black, it's done its job anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
And then get some wire on it. I can
Yeah.
see there's a bit of wire.
Well, that's again.
Is that
that's,
the
that's
old?
from the previous owner,
Yeah.
so all that's coming off. You've
So
seen. It.
Yeah, so take that off,
Yeah.
right, and then start to put some new wire on, because to be honest, the style of this tree is rather nice. There's not a massive amount I would change fundamentally, right? It just wants a little bit of a tidy up and a rejig, a bit of definition,
Yeah.
just to kind of compact things, because it's the kind of
It looks like
It's the
it's
kind
starting
of
to spread
foliage.
out, doesn't it? It looks like the foliage is getting too far away from the
yeah.
branches.
So you've got a gap here.
Yeah.
Right, so some of this wants to be spread out and some of this wants to be pulled down
Yeah.
to compact this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's got a kind of a literati kind of style to it, although it's a bit too full and some of the branches are a bit low.
Mark, what I think is the front. I don't know what you think.
Right, let's have a look there now. So, you see, what I'm looking for is movement in the
Yeah.
trunk.
Yeah.
And where the branches are coming from, because obviously this one here
Yeah.
is this branch
Yeah, yeah.
here, and yes, you still would have a good tree if you removed that branch altogether, because it is
I mean, it's,
very thick, too high up, and it's crossing all sorts of,
yeah.
you know. But at the minute,
It kind of provides a balance.
it's got quite a nice flow on that side of the tree. So in an instance like this, where you've got a branch that's, you think, it's not the you know, that looks a bit weird, that. So instead of chopping it off, hide it. It's a conifer.
Yeah.
Hide it. So
get this to come round and
well,
hide it.
or either that or change the front slightly. So instead of it being exactly there, where that's blatantly obvious, move it round a little bit. So that some of this foliage is hiding it.
Yeah.
When we pull that round, some of that foliage is hiding it.
Yeah.
And that in itself, you see from there, that piece of nabari is kind of missing.
Yeah.
But from round here, you've got more of a splayed nabari there.
Yeah.
You've got a bit more movement going up the tree. And all it just needs is a little bit of...
It's only an inch or two, really.
It is. It is.
It's around there.
Your dead wood looks a little bit nicer from there.
Yeah.
And all you need to do is just kind of layer some of these foliage pads, right? So tidy it up, get the old wire off, and if you start whopping some wire on. Now, I don't think you need any thick wire on this, as in, I don't think them branches want bending, but from here down, I think that's all you need to do. Is it? Yeah. So, take it right back. Okie doke.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's a good tree. It's a nice tree, isn't it?
Well,
You would have had it.
well, that tells me the quality of the tree.
And he said, I'm happy for what I paid for it. And I think it originated from John Ampey. You know what I mean?
Right. There used to be this kind of a bit like an old wives' tale in a way that used to say, if you find juvenile foliage on a tree, juniper, and if it's a one that has adult foliage on anyway, not because, you know, some of them have both or some of them have got needle foliage anyway, to take it off, otherwise the whole tree will turn into juvenile foliage. That's not true, right? What does with anything, what do juveniles turn into?
Adults,
Turn into adults. And it's the same with this. If you just leave the juvenile foliage, it'll eventually turn into adult foliage. If it's not required in the spot that you've got it, by all means take it off. But the thing is, what usually happens is juvenile foliage is thrown out on a lot of these junipers because either too much foliage is being taken off or the tree's got stressed in some way and it's having a bit of a panic attack and it wants to grow. So it produces this juvenile foliage. But it's not necessary to just go along and just take it all out. Let's have a deep. Right. Now at the minute, a lot of this down here I feel is hiding this, which is...
I don't like this at all.
You don't like that under there?
Yeah.
I mean this is quite nice, but it wants carving.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was, you know, you can imagine if it was a
I'm
lot...
not a carver.
I mean, carving's not my strong point either, I have to say. But if you could get... Will Badley is a tremendous carver. He would do a crap corking job on that. But if you've got some really nice dead wood, show it off. Right, and that could be nice. I know you're saying you don't like that bit there, but it could be a really nice feature of the tree. So, right, let's just turn around and just try not to poke your eye out. So, where's all of these branches coming from? Obviously, it's a bit open here. So, right, that branch goes back on itself. There's that one there. I'm just looking at where all the branches are and what can be moved about. Right. Obviously, you need this as a back branch, right? This one here, for me, I know the wires come off it and it's probably flopped.
No, I've just cut it. I've just cut it out. Cutting end.
I think this wants to be lifted up a little bit, and you could make two foliage pads out of that. This one, I think, wants to be pushed back in that way, and then the end bits want to come out like so. Foliage part here, and then this one, looking at where the branch comes from there, this whole one I feel wants to come around, fill in this space here, because you've got enough back there to pull down, because this is very heavy, right? That's quite weak. So I think anything that you've got on that, take off any of the brown and try and build that up a little bit. Or could we dispense with that and use that? I think we could get shot of that, you know.
I don't suppose it matters if this falls in the soil and then just stays there. Because you're not going to kick it right.
He said, look what you've made us do to me tree. Right, so be healthy, right? We need to start to pull it down to start to form some foliage pads. So you've got, that's a foliage pad. Your big foliage pads are at the bottom of the tree. As you go up the tree, the foliage pads start to get smaller until they start to form a big dome of your apex. So that's going to be a foliage pad, that's going to be a slightly lower foliage pad on that side, right? Again, another foliage pad is going to sit above that. Can you see that one's going to sit there, right? Yeah. So I think for now, what you want to do is this needs a serious clean up, right? So get right in there and clear right the way along. So any of these bits in here, if you take out all of the clutter that's in there, which you're kind of doing anyway, and then obviously we also need to prune back some of these extensions to get the growth to go a little bit further back in, right? So let's just have a, yeah, so if we lift up some of this out of the way.
There's a lot of rubbish in here though,
yeah, it wants all cleaning out, doesn't it? You know. So to keep, so for,
I'll do you want to clean it now.
so all of that lot there, okay, so that you've got a nice clean section like that, right? Yeah, it's coming from the underside. I think I would take that off. So really, what you're after?
Pull a lot of that.
Pull
a lot of it off.
Where's my look? So it's nice and neat.
Did you see that?
Yeah, because there's not an awful lot on this section.
Some young gentleman with a very small penis running back there.
That will come off. So generally, what you need to be left with throughout the whole tree they're good then, man.
What did you get them off?
The first pair I got was off Peter Warren, and then Robert Porch sells them. So he'll be a, I think he's a Doncaster, and I got them ones off him because I managed to nut the other ones. But they're great because you can use them for all sorts of jobs. Right, so you're kind of wanting a clean thing like that. So when it's all wired and spread out, that is going to form quite a nice foliage pad, right?
Want the tips, take them out as well.
Leave the tips until last, because once we've got a bit of wire and we've lifted things up and we can see exactly where everything's going to go, we can then judge how strong that foliage pad is, and whether or not we need to kind of prune things back a bit harder.
Right.
Up like that, and it's going to sit in there so that the asymmetry of the tree is going to come up like that, right? Rather than there, it's going to be there.